Sorry, you're so disappointed.
Yeah. I know you were thinking there's going to be a pair of twin Brad Pitts here,
Right,
but...
No. Welcome back, everybody. My name is Steve McLean, co-founder of The Little Red Dog, and I'm here with my partner in crime, Gary Newcomb. Gary, how are you doing?
Howdy. How are you?
Good. So, wait, did you say today was your son's 18th birthday?
Today is the day, yes.
What the hell are you doing here? Why are you not with your son today? What the hell?
I'm here on Christmas. I'm here all the time. It's dogs every day.
Wow, that's pretty cool that we're above your son. Your poor son.
Wow, you had to say it out loud? Sorry, son.
Well, your son is sacrificing for a good cause.
No, we're going to have a good party later.
Nice. What do you guys got planned for him?
Going to go to a barbecue at the father-in-law's house, grandpa's house.
Nice.
Got a few of us that are going to meet up there. He doesn't listen to this anyway, so.
No, he doesn't? He's got better things to do,
Yeah,
right?
an 18-year-old kid.
Plus, he's super smart.
Yeah.
And he's talented. Is he still singing and all that kind of thing?
Singing, acting, doing that. Yeah.
All right. Very cool.
They started the rehearsals back for the school. They haven't actually gone back into school yet, but they're doing rehearsals now, socially distanced outside and everything. So
now, does he share your passion for dogs? Like, does he want to?
No,
he likes
not
them,
so much. Oh yeah, he loves
yeah.
their dog and everything. But
Right.
yeah,
Okay.
you know, when it gets a little dicey for him, he's out.
It's like he's out.
Yeah,
Let Dad take care of that.
He's seen me get bit a couple times, so
That is part of the problem.
yeah, he's not trying that.
Hey, so anyway, well, speaking of having dogs out and working them, just before the show started, you said you got a little shit from someone. So what happened this week?
Yeah, I got accosted by a Karen.
Were you working with one of our dogs, or
Walking my dog?
You're walking your
just
dog.
doing an early morning walk with my dog.
Okay, and tell me what happened.
You know, he is dog reactive. So
Right.
he walks in a prong. So I
Right.
gave him a correction, and the lady on the other side whose dog set him off felt
Right.
that she needed to come over and educate me in the ways of positive reinforcement.
She had to school you.
Yeah, she had to teach me.
Right.
So
How did that go?
probably not how she thought.
Right.
Because, you know, I'm not just your average Joe out there walking it.
Right.
When you come and spout nonsense to me, it's my
Right.
instinct to correct that.
Right.
So, yeah. So, my favorite part was that her quote was, positive reinforcement works better because it taps into the dog's natural instincts. And
where has she experienced this?
I have no clue where she read that off of a knowledge toilet paper or something
Right.
completely scrambled. I have no clue where she got that. But in reality, that could not be further from the truth.
Right. Just out of curiosity, how old is she? Was she?
I guess mid-40s.
Okay.
Maybe early 50s, somewhere around there.
And what
It's
kind of
Newport,
dog was
so
she?
it's hard to tell. She's, you know, three quarters of her parts are under 18.
Yeah, only a quarter of her parts are natural.
Are original,
Right,
yeah.
right. So, what kind of dog did she have?
I'm gonna guess it's some kind of poodle mix, cockapoo,
All right.
some breeder dog.
I said, well, I'm going to set the stage. You got this Newport spoiled brat woman
Walking her
with a
dog in
little
front
dog.
with a harness.
Not a harness,
Yes.
no less.
Yes.
How about retractable leash, maybe?
No,
leash?
I think it was just a regular, but it was long, 6 foot, at least maybe even 8.
Okay.
Yeah, that dog was out there.
Okay. And how was that dog's behavior? Was it shitty?
Shitty, yeah.
Okay.
The dog's walking in front. It started by, flexing up and looking, and
So it wasn't listening to her.
it wasn't listening to her at
Yeah,
all.
she had the gall to
Yeah, I'm a trainer.
Right.
I can tell you dog behavior.
All right, so set the stage. So you laughed.
Yeah, I
And what did
literally
she
laughed
say?
at her.
And then what happened?
And then I went in to explain to her that you couldn't be farther off the mark.
Right.
So, basically what I told her is that dog behavior. Mm-hmm. What I always say, mama dog doesn't carry a treat bag. She never tells them good job. She only schools them when they do wrong.
Right.
And I think that this is a big part of where we see issues with, at least with my clients, in stating boundaries. Mm-hmm. People have, there's this misconception that you can train a dog to have boundaries. You don't train a dog to have boundaries. You set boundaries and then you correct the dog to follow them.
Right.
And that's how dogs work.
Right.
And, what's a dog's natural reward system? You do what the alpha wants you to do. You follow the boundaries that they set, and congratulations, you get your basic stuff you need to live.
Right.
It's not like there's going to be these high protein treats and bacon bits and
And they don't have the ability to distinguish whether it's dry food or a puppuccino from Starbucks. It's sustenance to them.
Yes, it is.
It doesn't matter what it is.
So, yes, that's how it works for them. You know, we've got this all tweaked with this positive reward system. And, you know, I use treats.
Yes.
When the
but
lady,
you use them correctly, though.
When the lady accosted me, I literally had a treat bag on me at the time.
Right.
So that's the ironic part, is that I'm not against treats, but you have to know how to use them.
Yeah. And it's not as simple as people think.
No, it's not.
It's not.
And
We've talked about that before.
And like I said, there's no way to reward a dog into a boundary.
Right.
You know, you have to set a boundary, and when the dog crosses it, that's how the dog knows, okay.
Right.
Through a correction.
And you know what? You can actually project this onto humans, really, in a way. But the difference is dogs aren't greedy. You know, they don't really have the capacity to constantly choose themselves.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of already in them that they're going to, you know, I need to survive.
Yeah.
These are the rules. And I know these rules genetically that I need to do, and then I'll live. Human beings, you know,
we always want more.
Yeah, thousands of years ago, our brain was kind of geared towards that, but now there's so many choices, right?
Yes.
And so that we overindulge.
Yes.
You know, in everything.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think that dog owners project that onto dogs, and dogs aren't wired that way.
No.
And thank God, there's really no way to change that. Dogs don't have an ego.
I mean, there is no way to change that, but there's a definite way to ruin them.
Yes.
By not acknowledging that.
Yes, and I think people don't understand that the way dogs see it. If dogs don't have to work for anything, and it's always there, the only net that conclusion that the dog can come to is, I must be in charge.
Yeah.
I must be the alpha.
Yep.
Because I'm getting all this stuff.
Yep.
Right?
I'm in direct control of my own outcome.
Exactly. So if that's true, if the dog perceives them as the alpha, then that means everyone else in the family is not in charge.
Yeah.
So so the dog's going to dictate.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, you're going to have a hard time with everything because you're missing the fundamental approach to how dogs work.
Right.
You know, you can't exclude dog behavior out of raising a dog correctly.
No. No.
Let's see.
Well, so Nicole from our production team asked a really good question, and I handle it differently depending on my mood.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so her question was, it was a great question, is do you take the time to explain to someone why we use this equipment? And before, let me back up just a little bit, and we're all assuming that everyone listening knows what a prong collar is. For the people listening that they don't know what a prong collar is a tool that all dog behavioralist people use to mimic the bite that dogs perform in the pack.
Yep.
Yes, it looks like a Chinese torture device.
It looks a lot worse than it really is.
Yeah. And by the way, a prong collar, a well-made prong collar, it is almost impossible to hurt the dog, even if you want to hurt the dog.
Yeah.
Okay? So whenever we would never, Gary and I would never harm a dog. All that we're using this equipment for is it makes our lives easier to mimic the bite.
Yep.
Once a dog starts to calm down, or once the handler is really good with the equipment and the execute, to work the prong correctly, you can go to what's called a martingale, or you can go to a lead.
Yeah.
If the dog's good enough, yes, you can use a harness.
Yep.
But that's pretty rare. So what I'm getting at is, we're using the equipment to mimic the bite, and dogs respond to that. It doesn't hurt them.
I think that people force it into a black or white.
Yes.
Either it's a good thing or it's a bad thing.
Yes.
Yes. The equation that I always use, as far as breaking it down for people on the street,
right?
It really depends on how you come at me.
Yes.
I read people as, when you come at me like Karen did that day,
right,
she's not open to me giving her any input or, having a back and forth discussion about it.
And she's not going to listen to logic.
No, she's not going to listen to anything I say.
Right.
But there's a lot of people who I go to training sessions who've never used a prong, and I have to explain to them because when I hold it up, they're like, whoa, that's a crown of thorns.
Right.
What are you strapping on my dog?
Yeah, and so getting back to Nicole's question about do we take the time to educate, I normally do not, and I'm a lot like you. I'm going to give you back the energy you give me. So if you're coming at me intensely, well, I'm working with a dog and saying you shouldn't use that, I'm probably, if I'm in a decent mood, I'm just probably going to say, hey, good morning. We're working. Appreciate your opinion and move on. The problem with my tiny brain is I'm rarely in a good mood. And so I end up making that kind of situation worse.
Yeah.
Because, A, why are you bugging me? You don't know, you don't know what you're talking about. And I don't.
And who else have you given this poor advice to?
Right. And this is something that we could debate about with other people. Well, let me back up. We're going to debate this topic till, we both die.
Oh, yeah.
It's super controversial. It's so controversial, in fact, that when we post dogs on our social media and the dog has a photo of the prong on it, we Photoshop it out because people flip out.
Yeah.
And it's not worth the argument.
I know. I've had a ton of them on Instagram.
Yeah. And,
I'll give a lesson on how to break a dog of something serious, dog aggression.
Right.
I'm not saying, to teach your dog to sit, strap a prong on it and start popping it.
Right.
But for, there's issues that you do want to dial in or they're only going to get worse and you're going to end up putting your dog into a position where they're going to hurt somebody and maybe get put down.
Yeah.
So it could end up being a life or death if you don't break a dog of this behavior.
It really is. And I get so frustrated with owners that they don't take a moment to understand that your dog isn't a cute human in a fur coat. I know I say that almost every week, but it's so true. They don't take the time to understand that dogs it's genetically a wolf, and you have to treat it as such.
Yeah, and that's the fundamental stage one problem that these people are having is that they don't acknowledge that we're different species. Mm-hmm. We speak different languages.
Right.
For us to just be, running into a brick wall, you're going to learn things the way that I want to teach it is not going to be the most efficient or effective way of doing that.
Right.
So when you take in, 50% of their language and you get them to do what you want, then you're meeting in the middle.
Yeah, and I think we should address what this idiot was telling you, that positive reinforcement genetically brings out the good in the dog. I really want to dive into that. We've got like 2 minutes left. My comment is it's exactly the opposite.
Absolutely.
What is geared DNA in them is they need a proper leadership. They need to follow someone that they realize, if I follow this person or this dog, I get to live, I get to eat.
Take care of my basic
needs. And that's all that they care about.
Mm-hmm.
They don't care about also getting a car. They don't also care about getting a jet or different food.
No,
it's just the basic stuff. And the problem is, again, because we treat them like humans, we do spoil them. And that's when the shit starts to happen. Now, don't get me wrong. I spoil my dog every once in a while. But that's just for me. That's for my amusement.
Yes.
And and then it's my responsibility to bring the dog back down.
And even when I do it, I try to follow some kind of rules.
Right.
I want to love my dog. I still know I don't seek my dog out to give him affection. If I do that, then I'm telling him you're in charge and I'm coming and kissing your ass.
Right.
So we're not going to do that.
Right.
I want to pet my dog. I sit down on the couch. I call him over to me. He's perfectly excited to come over and get these scratches.
Right.
So he's still meeting me in the middle.
Right.
When I want to give the dog something.
And I think the way you worded that was perfect. Actually, I like that. I like the way that you encompass that simple acknowledgement of love for your dog, but you have to be careful
under the structured terms.
Anyway, thanks so much for listening. I think we should stop right there. That was a perfect place to end that lesson.
Hope you're watching, Karen.
When we come back, I'll have my partner in crime, PJ Rosh, co-founder of the Little Red Dog. Please subscribe, like us, love us. Please, 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 we need your support. Thanks, everybody. Hey everyone, thank you for tuning in for the Love of Dog. Totally good news. New Road is back with their food. However, it's only treats. That's okay. We love the treats. You saw Gary try them months ago. Either way, doesn't matter. They're great. They're terrific. Treats only. The promo code is REDDOG15, all caps. Type that in when you're ordering. You get a discount, plus we get a little bit of a donation. We love it. Please check it out. New Road. Thanks, everybody. That's funny. Cooler out. Feels good.
Follow us
Speaking, like, how good was our show yesterday? Our adoption event.
It's tight.
That was tight. Welcome back, everybody. I'm in studio with PJ Rush, founder of the Little Red Dog. PJ, what do you have in store for us today? What you got?
I got 43 animal shelter statistics and facts that will shock you.
It's
October, so it's time for shocking facts.
I don't want to be shocked.
That's really interesting.
I want to be told that everything's going to be okay.
Everything is not going to be okay.
Don't shock me, PJ. Please don't shock me.
Okay. So
hit me with one.
The top 10 animal shelter statistics to be mindful of. How many animal shelters in the U.S. do you think there are?
How many animal shelters in the United States? I'm going to say there are 3,000.
You're really close. It's 3,500.
Whoa!
So that's good.
Way to go, Steve.
How many... yeah. Ooh. How many shelters...
I'm not shocked so far, PJ.
How many shelters and rescue groups are there in the U.S.? So this is all rescue groups and shelters.
45,000.
It's 14. So you're off.
Okay.
Shocking.
Shocking.
I've been shocked.
So, you'll hear a lot about no-kill shelters. And so in order to become a no-kill shelter, you have to...
kill. Seems pretty self-explanatory.
Yes, it is. That is a key component. It's actually an attempt to save 9 out of 10 animals if they can. I think it should be 100. I think it should be 10 out of 10 personally.
So it's not funny. So you're basically telling me you're allowed to kill one and still be a no-kill?
Semi-kill shelters.
Kind of like Mission Viejo, right? Shelter.
There's about 6.5 million animals enter the shelter each year. We know that across the U.S. 6.5 million
cats
and dogs, animals.
Okay.
Yep.
Do they break it? They usually don't break it down, do they?
It just depends. It's hard to find those numbers. I've looked, and you know what? Frankly, that could also mean. It doesn't say companion animals here, although I think that's what they mean, because there are shelters that take like horses, chickens, pigs.
Right.
We've seen peacocks. There are other animals.
Believe it or not, we've saved. How many peacocks have we saved?
We have saved one.
One. I thought
Only
it was more
one.
than that.
Nope.
Okay, one peacock.
There were no peacocks hurt in this.
He's working at NBC, I hear. Look what I did there.
Okay. So out of the 6.5 million animals that enter the shelters across the U.S. annually, 710 strays are returned to their owners each year. And 23% of the dogs in the U.S. were adopted from an animal shelter. And 733,000 pets were euthanized in 2019. Frankly, I think that sounds low.
I would have guessed higher.
I would have guessed higher, too. Yeah. Cats or dogs? Who has put down more? Cats or dogs?
Well, I'm just going to say cats, only because there's more cats.
There are more cats, and that's why. Yep. And 30% of the animals that are in the shelters that had owners were left there. They just didn't come claim them. So, sad stuff.
And that's probably higher as well, because a lot of times when people turn in a dog, they act like they're not the owner.
Excellent point.
Yeah.
And they are. And then animals shelters cost U.S. citizens almost how much every year, do you think?
Individual households? Is that the question?
Yeah, cost U.S. citizens, so total. Animal shelters cost U.S. citizens almost how many?
Dollars
per year.
$50 per year.
No, total aggregate. What's all the animal shelters? What does that cost? I'll just tell you. It's $2 billion every year.
Oh my God! I thought you meant per family.
$2 billion.
That's a lot of. It
would be really bad if it's $2 billion per family, because I ain't got any billions.
Right. Where's my billions?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is crazy. What do you think? Who do you think was the first city to become the first no-kill city? In the U.S.
I'm gonna say Seattle.
It was San Francisco.
Oh, all right.
And it was in 1994.
Okay.
Who do you think is? And this is gonna surprise you. Which state became the first no-kill state? And it was in 2019. So unfortunately, we didn't get a state to commit until last year.
Well, it's not California.
It is not California.
You think it's our production team says Massachusetts?
It's not Massachusetts.
I'm going to say Washington.
It is Delaware.
Would have never got that. Way to go. Well, way to go, Delaware. Way to go.
They have a save rate of 92.9.
I am shocked.
I know. Everybody forgets about Delaware. Is it really a state?
It's a state. When did they become a state?
They have a save rate of 92.9%, which means around 12,000 out of the 13,000 pets in the shelter were returned to their owners or adopted. and that it's the first and only no-kill state in the U.S., which is really sad. I mean, we've talked about this before. Incidentally, the highest kill state is
California.
And the second highest kill state,
Texas.
Yep, 1 and 2. And they are just way above everybody else.
Yeah.
Just completely sad. All right.
You would think California being so proactive about the human condition that California would do a better job. I'm kind of surprised, especially since you said San Francisco.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
would think that.
But
yeah, I don't know. I mean, we see, we work a lot of the shelters. Well, we work less with the LA County shelters than we used to for a variety of reasons, which we'll complain about at some point on this podcast, but just not right now, pending investigation.
well, we can talk about it. It does feel like a lot of times a lot of the shelters are against us.
Against rescues in general.
I mean, some are great, that work with us, but I'd say
LA County in general, I think, is one of the worst places I've worked with. That's not to say there are individuals that work at some of the shelters that are amazing and are trying to do the great job and are being held down, but the administration there is really hard to deal with. And LA City, and people complain about LA City, rescues complain about LA City. I haven't had that experience. Everybody I've worked with there really tries to help once the dog's rescued. But it seems like LA County would prefer to just euthanize them all and not have to deal with rescues. It's quite sad to me.
But I feel the same way about Orange County, obviously.
Yeah, we don't deal with them as much because, early on we didn't like them.
We had problems.
So, we had problems. I just find, we said this, I don't want to be repetitive because I think, a couple weeks ago I said the same thing. I just find them very illogical, the OC animal control. Again, it's not to say that there aren't good people there because I've met a lot of really good volunteers there and they care about the animals. But overall, I just feel like when they're deliberating on, a dog being called vicious or whatever, their arguments don't always seem that logical to me. And it's not because I disagree. Some people, when you disagree with them, they're like, oh, you don't understand. No, right. I understand. I just disagree with you. And it's not that, I swear. It's like they just aren't that logical to me.
Well, the problems too with the laws and animal control, it seems very difficult to see or find the truth, like the actual laws.
That's true.
And it seems like they tend to create new laws and instructions.
They interpret laws that really aren't there.
Yeah, it's very difficult. And the only way that you can beat them is go all the way and get an actual judge.
Right.
But that takes money and that takes time and that's really difficult to go through all that.
And that's what they're counting on, is that you're not going to not going to be able to afford or have the time or whatever. So, okay, we digress. Oh,
not the Chicago Cubs hat.
So sorry.
Oh, sorry, Papa.
Okay. What percentage of the animals going into the shelters are, it says neutered, but I'm assuming they mean fixed.
Fixed. What percentage? Mm-hmm. I'm going to say 30%.
10%.
No.
Which explains why there's so many.
Wow. That's crazy low.
Yeah. It's crazy. Spay and neuter your pets, please. On time.
Another controversy.
What
does on time mean? We spend hours talking about that.
We could.
It's very boring, though.
What's the average age of animals entering the shelter?
1.5 years.
Yep. It's actually under 18 months old, but it's right around there.
We should talk about this really quick.
Go ahead.
We've talked about this before, Gary and I, why there are so many dogs at 1.5 years in the shelters. The reason why that happens is because dogs hit their peak mentally and physically right around 1.5 years. So if the families haven't been doing their due diligence and discipline and exercising the dog, is going to be full throttle at 1.5 years and start challenging the humans. So, if they don't work on it, they get frustrated and think they have a wild dog, not realizing that, the family was the fault. So they turn the dog in. But that's the reason why. And this is no matter where you are in the United States. Even if you're in Delaware, you're going to notice that a big chunk of the dogs are going to be right around that age, 1.5 years, 2 years old.
Yep, that's true. So there are actually over 4,000 no-kill communities in America, which is kind of cool. And like I said, it's in order to achieve that, you have to save at least 90% of your animals. No surprise that no-kill shelters are also overcrowded.
Sure.
because they're not killing for space, which, we don't want them to. But anyway, on average, the U.S. saves 76.6% of shelters, but Texas and California have the lowest save rates, and both of these states have less than 75% shelter animals are rehomed. I would say, speaking personally, it was probably lower than that. But
yeah, I mean, California, they just in 2019 they produced the figures about what percentage they get back once the dog leaves the shelter, and it was 50% of the time, which is incredibly disheartening.
Yep, and bad for the animals because if they get returned to the shelter, they don't usually make it out again.
I was gonna say it's even more difficult for sure.
I mean, it happens, but just not that much.
Right.
And then let's see, the goal is of activists is to make U.S. a complete no-kill zone by 2025. So that's interesting. In 5 years,
I don't see how we're going to do that.
I don't really see how that's going to happen either. But
well, I mean, the problem is, even if you're a no-kill shelter, or you're trying to do the best that you can do, you have a limited amount of space. So if someone comes to return the dog, they're gonna have to you're gonna have to go someplace else. So guess what? That dog's probably gonna go to a kill shelter, right? So I don't know how the hell. In case we figure out a way to quickly sterilize a lot of dogs, I don't really see how we can do it. Basically, 2020 is over.
Yeah.
So
it's an ambitious goal to me, especially given the top 2 states and how much we euthanize.
Was there any details on how they want to do it? About how the plan about how to make this happen?
Let's see what it says.
Probably not.
Even though it may seem a bit challenging, animal lovers believe it can be done. So far, the number of euthanized animals keeps going down, and the number of rehomed pets are increasing. So they didn't really give a lot of details on how they're going to do it. They did say that in 2011, there were 7.2 million pets taken in by animal shelters, and that number's declined by 1 million. But that's still...
Well, that's a little bit of good news.
Still 6.2 million.
Sure,
animals.
But I mean, at least in their... What's cool about that stat, if it's true, is they're noticing a decline in the number of dogs that are getting euthanized. I mean, that's super good news. I don't see it here. I mean, I don't feel it. Do you feel it? I mean, it's always overwhelming.
Well, I'm going to go pick back on the LA County again because, there has been record number of adoptions this year, just in general, right? Because people were,
COVID, right?
Because of COVID. We all know that may lead to dogs being returned later, but let's just talk about that. Recently, LA County has had every dog that they've had is on either rescue only or it's on the youth list. And we know that the shelters are a little less burdened right now. So I just don't understand why that is. But yeah, to your point.
Well, because we're always trying to end this segment on a good note, let's end it right there, that we are getting proof that mathematically the number of euthanization, or the euthanization of dogs is decreasing.
Yes.
A skosh.
Yes.
That's good news.
That is good news.
I think we should stop right there.
Okay,
what do you think? I'm shocked that it's down. That's good stuff.
I feel like we've done our part.
We have done. We're trying so hard every day for sure. All right, Miss PJ, thanks. Are you going to come back next week?
Sure.
I think you are. Let me see. Yes, you are.
Okay. Thanks to all the rescues out there who are decreasing the euthanization in our shelters.
Thanks for tuning in. For the love of the dog, we need your support. Please subscribe. Go to littlereddog.org to donate or adopt, foster. Help us, please. Thanks, guys.